Hello and welcome to AGT Time. It is September 25, 2017. Last week we had the AGT Season 12 finale, and this week we get to talk about it on AGT Time. I'm very excited for this, and of course, with me as always is Cody Patterson. Hello.
Hello. I want to apologize to all of our listeners that were really late. It's my fault. I was in LA trying to get a ticket to AGT, sadly failed.
That is the sad news of the episode, but as far as being late, our listeners are so chill. I'm sure they get it.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't lose all 10 of our listeners in the last week.
Well, I am, of course, very excited to talk about this episode, so let's get straight into it. How would you rate this one?
I would rate this. I know I gave a semifinals episode an A+. I don't know if this was a great episode. I don't know if I'd give it an A+. It's definitely an A, though.
Awesome. I will give this one yet another B+. I actually had someone to root for this year, which was good. Last finals, I didn't really feel like I did. I wasn't super thrilled with any of the finals performances, but this year there was one that stood out to me, and it was a very intense watch throughout the finals and the finale, and it was pretty fun. So yeah, let's kick it off here. We got a montage in the beginning, of course, as we always do. It was kind of funny hearing the weird way that Tyra says every name, like they sort of cut it together, and she was doing some kind of like inflection on all of them.
Yeah. Tyra's kind of just been doing some crazy stuff lately, especially the outfits that she's wearing.
Yeah. And then she started off saying something like, hey, you could feel the way that all these acts feel. And I really thought she was going to tell people to audition, but then she kind of went into like following them on social media. So that was an interesting turn. And speaking of interesting turns, we started off, she said, this singer had something big happen to her recently, and I really was kind of worried she was going to start introducing Evie then, but it was Angelica Hale, so we got to start off with Angelica. What did you think of her?
Yeah, we got another package with baby Abigail, and she's writing letters to baby Abigail to talk about her experience, and she can't wait until Abigail's a little bit older and she can actually talk to her about her experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great to see Angelica with her. Although I do think that somebody else wrote this letter. It didn't really sound like Angelica to me, but maybe I'm just being paranoid.
Yeah, and Angelica's going to be a little bit older by the time Abigail's old enough to really understand what's going on. So Angelica's approaching preteens and teenage years, and she'll probably be in high school by the time Abigail's old enough to really understand what's going on.
Yeah. So anyway, as for the performance, I thought this was beautiful. I thought it was a good song choice, and Angelica's just awesome. I really thought that this was a winning performance.
Now, she sang Symphony by Clean Bandit. Is that right?
Yeah, I listened to the original because of this performance, and I do love some Clean Bandit, but I gotta say Angelica did it way better.
I'd never heard of Clean Bandit. I did not think this was her best song. I think I enjoyed the Moana song from semifinals better than I enjoyed this.
Oh, okay. Did she do a Moana song in
She did,
semifinals?
yeah, she did the song for Moana.
Oh,
Wasn't she the
okay.
one? It was her. I'm sure it was her. It wasn't Celine Tam that did
Maybe.
it.
What? I thought that Angelica in all of the live shows had done like electronic songs. I don't know.
Okay.
I could be wrong, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. I do love that she sort of has that trend. Like, as the judges say, it felt like she picked her own songs. Uh, and I think that's cool. I think her song choice really made her like stand out a lot, and I was very happy with this.
Yeah, I just, for some reason, was just not a fan of this. I don't know what it was. It just didn't feel like it was strong enough.
Okay. I mean that's fair. We did get a lot of singers tonight, but this was my favorite performance of the night. She was who I was wanting to win this time, honestly.
Okay. And you're right. Celine Tam actually sang the Moana song. Angelica Hale sang Without You by David Guetta in semifinals.
Okay.
So my mistake on that.
All right. Well, I guess that is it for Angelica. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about when we get to the finale, but very happy with her this time. So next up was another singer in Chase Gillring, and what did you think of this?
Now he was walking through the desert to a song a cappella, which I thought was really interesting package. He started singing a slow song, and then he went really, really fast for a really long time, and I was cringing.
Oh,
I was
really?
cringing at this. They keep saying that he's going to be on the radio, that people are going to be able to sing along to his songs. I could not understand a single word when he started singing really, really fast. I didn't know what he was singing, so it just really, really bothered me.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I've never been a fan of him, but I guess I did kind of like that because it felt like he made it bigger. And in the finals, I'm always looking for people to like sort of step it up and make it really feel like finals. And I think him and Angelica so far both did. This still did not change my mind, but I was happy to at least see that from him.
I mean, I can see that. It's just, how do you know what he's actually singing? How do you know if he's? I think in the beginning of like the montage at the beginning of the results, or maybe even at the end of this, he didn't even know if he got all the words in there. Like he had to ask someone, "Did I get all the words right?" So how does he even know what he's saying?
Yeah, well, based on the lyrics I've heard from Chase, I think not being able to understand him is a plus for me.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, also, I kind of want to say I've had a cold the last couple of days, a little congestion, so I want to apologize if I cough in your guys' ears. So I just want to get that out there.
Oh, okay. Are you sure it's not AGT fever?
It might be AGT fever. It happened after the show was over. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
It's withdrawals then, I guess.
that's right.
Sarah and Hero were up next, and we saw in her package a sort of flashback, which I had totally forgotten that she almost didn't even get through auditions. And I mean, watching that, I just couldn't believe that she was in the finals. I was thinking, like, how did this happen? The judges were right in auditions, so I don't know. We got Sarah and Hero again. What do you think?
Yeah, this was the auditions is where Simon begged and pleaded for Howie and Mel B to change their no's to a yes. So yeah, she shouldn't have even. We didn't want her to be this far. She shouldn't have even gotten out of auditions. Now it looked like she did a Guardians of the Galaxy theme here. It's kind of what I took, and there were so many problems with this performance. Yeah. So many mistakes. So when we get to the results, as Simon would say, I was gobsmacked at what happened in results based on the not. I'm gonna say it wasn't awful, but it was not finals caliber performance.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the mistakes by then. I mean, the jump rope certainly was a failure, but I mean, for this to get top 5 it is pretty gobsmacking. But yeah, I like the theme. There was a great song choice, I'll say that. I always love some Queen songs, and the audio editing was actually pretty good, which seems to be rare on this show. But it is what it is. I mean, like Chase, I'm still not a fan, but I don't know. It was better than usual, I guess. The ending was kind of amusing with the dog just flying.
No, that was good, but this was not her best performance. I think semifinals was probably the best that they've done. Even the judges, it seemed like, didn't know what to say. Of course, Simon had to give her high praise, but everyone else really dodged trying to give her critique. Mel B was just like, "Oh, you look gorgeous." Heidi was like, gave her just very generic comment. Howie said, "Vote, vote." So it was like they didn't really want to tell her that she made all the mistakes, but they also didn't want to tell her what a great job she did.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Um, so that is Sarah and Hero. Next up was Diavolo. Another good song choice, I think. I don't know. What do you think of this performance?
Now we find out they go through an 8-hour audition when they audition for Diavolo.
Dang,
That I thought that was pretty incredible. So
that
this
is
guy,
incredible.
yeah, this guy Jacques, he means business when he tries to get the best dancers.
Yeah.
I love that the teeter totter was back from auditions. I love that contraption. We also got some skateboard ramps. That's what I called them. Kind of look
Yeah.
like skateboard ramps. I thought this was better than last week. I didn't understand last week's or the semifinals. I thought it was too artsy for me. It was just too deep, and I didn't really get it. But I liked this. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this one to me was sort of not too different from their other ones. I mean, they Diabloed the place up. Um, I know you've been a much bigger fan of them than I have, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. But it's I don't know. They never really captured me, I guess. I did like that they all took a bow. That was kind of cool. I don't know.
I would definitely go see them live.
Yeah, I bet it's much better live. It's probably pretty great.
Absolutely. Yep.
So Evie Claire was up next. I love seeing her again. I thought this was all very nice. I like that they didn't treat her father's death like a news event. They kind of just, they talked about it very subtly and in her package and whatnot. She, used was and everything, but it was all handled very well, I think. And I mean, what a brave, graceful girl. I think she did exactly what she should have done, and this kind of quiet performance was a nice ending for her on AGT. I thought she did very well.
Absolutely. This was very Evie. It was very personal. She sang "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. I think she put her own spin on it, which was very. It was spectacular. It was just great. Just had the piano on the stage. I thought it was a great rendition of it. The whole family was there in the audience. I thought she did a fantastic job, and this is one of the things that really upset me when we'll get to the results.
Yeah. But as for now, I don't know if we have much more to say about it. I think we both just really liked it. So,
Yes, we did.
so up next was Preacher Lawson. What did you think of Preacher?
I really liked his package where he was sitting around the dinner table with his family, and his brothers were kind of talking about how he wasn't funny growing up, and he'd try to tell a joke and they wouldn't laugh. His mama was very proud of him, which she should be. He always kind of does something interesting at the beginning, and this time he was in Tyra's makeup chair getting his makeup done. I didn't feel that the jokes were as on point as they've been in the past. The one where he's talking about the homeless guy that's just kind of, he's kind of doing the little movement, the little dance. I think that went on for way too long. I love Preacher, but I just did not feel like this was his best performance.
Yeah, what I thought watching this is stadium comedy. And we've been talking about what is a finals performance. I know I'm kind of obsessed with that. So I understand why he did this bit. And it was a bit awkward because the bit did go on for a very long time. But I think if this was in Madison Square Garden, it would have killed.
Why do you say that?
Because I mean, if you got like a bunch of screaming fans for you, just all gathered in a very high energy place. I mean, I think this is. I mean, a lot of comedians I think could pull this kind of act off. It seems very familiar to things I've seen in that vein, where this big kind of physical comedy. I think Preacher can sort of do this sort of thing as well as the pros do it. So I don't know. It seemed to me like something that would have worked in the right setting, but it was pretty awkward to see here.
So you don't think this would have worked in the comedy club setting?
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
Okay, okay. Now, Howie compared him to Richard Pryor, Charlie Chaplin, and Eddie Murphy. That's pretty high praise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw in the finale when he was sort of hanging out with Howie when Howie was in his weird hoodie or whatever. I mean, Howie absolutely thinks the world of him. So that was, I mean, one of the best friendships of this season, perhaps only rivaled by Preacher and Darcy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think I've ever seen Howie say anything negatively about a comedian that's gone this far.
Yeah, you're right. This is sort of an unprecedented level of praise, though, I think, which is saying a lot for Howie.
Absolutely. Now, Heidi, of course, our family judge, said she didn't like the part about the drugs, so she had to give her 2 cents on that, even though comedy is her favorite category.
Yeah, that was definitely a family judge moment for her. So yeah, that's Preacher Lawson. Interesting showing from him. So Ketchy was up next, and I gotta say, I'm not sure how I feel about this package. They had so many, like the mother of one of the plane crash victims talking the whole time. Ketchy did not say a word. I don't know. It gave me kind of a weird vibe. I'm not sure why they went that direction, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Now, was this one of the crash victims' mom, or was this Ketchy's mom?
Was it? I thought it was one of the crash victims' mom.
Okay, maybe I interpreted all that wrong. I thought this was Ketchy's mom because she was talking about that she's a survivor. So maybe I misheard all that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to go check that out again.
Okay. But she's saying Conqueror by Estelle. Is that?
I guess so.
Okay.
I had never heard this song before.
Okay. I actually kind of like this.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know what else. I don't know what more to say. I just liked it for some reason. It just felt very catchy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good pun. Okay. Well, I didn't think it was very interesting, but I guess that's where we stand on catchy.
You and I seem to be all over the place on the singers tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And now let's get to the one I'm sure we've all been waiting for, perhaps the most divisive act on AGT time, Darcy Lynn. What did you think of this? I mean, we saw her package. I honestly thought it was pretty cute that she inspired so many people. That was a nice moment to see.
Now, we saw this last year with Grace, where all of a sudden everyone started playing the ukulele.
Yeah, this is very Grace VanderWaal.
Yes. So then this year, now everyone's learning ventriloquism. So the market on puppets has started to skyrocket. So everyone's buying puppets now.
Yeah, invest wisely.
Yes, because it's probably going to crash here in about a month when everyone realizes it's really hard and they can't do it. So, we got this is of course my pick to win. I've been saying it for a while now. I guaranteed it several weeks ago that she was going to win. So she brought out Petunia and Oscar, both of them this time. So I thought that was a little interesting that she's going to do both voices. We find out she's going to sing A Little Help from My Friends, which I didn't know was a Beatles song.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that this was a Beatles original. I always thought it was a Joe Cocker original.
Oh, I mean, maybe.
No, I looked it up. It is. The Beatles wrote it for one of their albums.
Oh, all right.
And it is a John Lennon and Paul McCartney song. But then Joe Cocker came along and covered it, and I think that's what it's most famous for. But it started out as a John Lennon and Paul McCartney song.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, which this was really kind of cool to kind of see them banter back and forth. You have Petunia, that's the diva, and Oscar, that's the shy one, and this was really kind of cool to see.
Um. Okay. Well, I was really tired of this act at this point.
Ah,
I didn't think any of
no.
this was funny. Um, the whole routine was not anything entertaining to me. But I don't know. I know you won't know what this means, is it's a reference to season 10, I think. But Oscar is literally Ira, and I don't know. Nothing about this grabbed me.
Okay. Now, I did notice that Darcy was a little more nervous this time for some reason. She kind of had a couple of hiccups. I'm not sure if it was just nerves from the finals or nerves from trying to do two voices at the same time, but she didn't seem as confident as she's been in the past. So I'm just not sure where it was coming from, but I did kind of notice it.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. Um, but yeah, you think it's worthy of the $1 million?
I think it's been worthy of the million dollars since we saw her in auditions.
Awesome. Well, next up we saw Mandy Harvey. I thought this was the best package of the night. They just had a monologue of her saying one thing. It was all one continuous shot. I thought that was really cool.
No, I agree with you. I thought that was really cool as well. And I was curious, did they actually do it in one take? Or, because they timed it just perfectly. I mean, they had to get really, really close to her. But they
Yeah.
pretty much timed it just perfectly where she finished her monologue right as they got. Pretty much all you could see was her mouth and her eyes at that point. So I thought it was very interesting. And if they did it in one take or if they had to do multiple takes, because she was crying. She was getting very emotional at the end of her monologue.
Yeah, that's a good question. So then the performance started, and this immediately made me think of I Don't Know My Name. And I honestly was not into it, but, hashtag strength. What'd you think?
It was not my favorite performance. I know Simon kept saying, Darcy's going to win it, and then Mandy's going to win it, and then Light Balance is going to win it. But I just didn't feel that this was Mandy's best performance. I loved her semifinals performance when she signed the song that she was singing. Here she was just going back to playing her ukulele that she'd been playing the rest of the season. So it was great. I just didn't love it as much as I'd loved last week's.
Yeah, I agree. I liked her finale song better, so kind of disappointing, but oh well, I guess. Interesting closer choice this time. We ended the show with Light Balance. What did you think of this?
I thought this was, of course, great. I mean, it's Light Balance. They've done great every week, even in their week that they had to show their dress rehearsal. They did bring back the wolf guy, so they've now reused that same character. I know probably it didn't mean a lot, but I love the glowing beach balls they had floating around the audience.
Oh
That was
yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. Um, Mel B speaking Armenian again. I'm not sure why we're doing that. Um, but as far as Light Balance themselves, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought this had some cool tricks, but it didn't feel like a finals performance to me. The judges thought it was the best one pretty much unanimously, so I feel like it probably lost a lot to TV. And also, of course, they did only have a week to focus on this one, but that's true of half the people here. So, I mean, I can't make all kinds of excuses for them, but I mean, they were entertaining as usual. But I was still going for Angelica after this. So that is our finals show.
Now, I think on Light Balance, didn't they kind of keep the camera in one spot and didn't do a lot of cuts this time? I think they did one cut where they actually showed them from behind. They showed the audience from like the backstage view, but Light Balance was actually facing the back of the stage. But I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
the camera, I'm pretty sure the camera stayed in one shot the whole performance, which is the best way to do it. Don't do cuts and then cut away to the audience or the judges. They pretty much
Yeah.
just focused on Light Balance the whole time.
Yeah, it's like their dress rehearsal one.
That's right.
Yeah, so that is our finals. If you want to get into the finale, we started off with this Dish the Dirt segment, which was a recurring thing. Uh, I don't know if we have much to say about that.
I don't think I even made a lot of notes on that stuff.
Yeah, I think the one
So
thing I wrote was like for Heidi's like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna say about her, but they actually did not focus on the singing, so plot twist, I guess. But the first performance we saw was Ketchy and Angelica Hale. I hated this song, and I thought it did not do Angelica justice.
no, they brought in Kelly Clarkson to sing with them, right?
Yes.
So is that kind of the American Idol connection that Simon has to bring in Kelly Clarkson?
Yeah, I guess. I was thinking we definitely did not need Kelly solo, but
No, we did not. No.
I don't know. I wasn't too thrilled by the performances on this episode. I mean, we some of them didn't even do any sort of live performance, and we did not get the encore presentation thing, which I don't remember if we had that last year or not, but I do miss that.
Kind of remind me what that is.
Like so for in season 8, you remember like Kenichi did like his initial sort of robot thing,
Oh yes, yeah.
and yeah. I don't remember if that was in season 10 or not, but those were the days, I guess. But yeah, so that performance was pretty good, I guess. Not really what I wanted to be watching, but I don't know. I did think it was funny that Kelly gave them probably more practical advice than what they were expecting to get from her. Like, hey, if you don't win, it really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Just look at. Did she win hers? I mean, I guess that's the vice.
I don't know.
Did she win her season? Okay, I don't.
I thought
I
maybe they
didn't
said
watch
that
any
she
American Idol,
did.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Whatever. After that,
Yeah.
we got Diavolo and Light Balance. I was wondering if Diavolo just did their semifinal act again, but that's just
They did.
me, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I think it's clear that none of the acts try very hard for this performance. I mean, Light Balance was kind of just like, what should we do? Oh, I don't know, VR. So they, I mean, sort of threw together a theme. I don't know. It seemed like not a lot of people were bringing their A game on this, and I see why. You'd probably want to prepare for the actual finals. So
No, I even
whatever.
think Light Balance did one of their earlier auditions, maybe even judge cuts, because the song sounded very familiar.
It did to me too.
So I think they even did one of their earlier performance. But we get Derek Huff, whoever this guy is. So
Yeah, I was wondering, am I too young or too old to not know who Derek Huff is?
well, you don't watch Dancing with the Stars, do you?
No,
And you don't watch World of Dance, do you?
no.
Then you would not know who Derek Huff is.
Okay.
I had to look him up.
So he's on both of those shows?
I think he was on Dancing with the Stars, and now he's a judge on World of Dance.
All right. Well,
So
that's the NBC family. Uh, but after that, we got to ask the timeless question: is there life after the X?
and I look
And
forward to this segment every year.
yeah, I kind of had some questions as this was going. Like, why is that opera singer in there? I mean,
Yeah.
he made it at least to Judge Cuts, right? So
Yes.
did he get buzzed or did he just not go through?
Well, he didn't get through from judge cuts, so he didn't make it. He did not make the live show.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess they couldn't find enough people who got buzzed on auditions because it seemed like there were a lot of people who made it to Judge Cuts. But
Yeah, Dancing Pumpkin Man was in judge cuts.
yeah, maybe this
So
is HET being critical of the judges.
yeah, and then we don't even know who this leprechaun guy is.
Yeah.
So,
I thought I kind of thought this segment was better when it was a live thing. I wasn't too thrilled by the way they did it this time. It was like I don't know, it just didn't seem to really fit in. What did you think?
no, you're right. I like it when it's live, but I still like seeing these these bad acts that we saw in auditions, especially like the lawyer guy. I love that lawyer guy. But I like seeing these these acts that we just cringed seeing back in auditions. I love seeing them here now in the finals. But you're right, it is better when it's live.
Yeah. So that is that, I guess. After this, we got a segment with Sarah and Hero. I thought this was boring. What'd you think?
Yeah, this was awful.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, how he's putting in a pen and his dog keeps peeing on everything. So,
yeah. So Mandy Harvey was next, and as I said, I even like her better doing country than what she did in finals, and I am not a country fan, so it was cool to see her again like this, I guess. But what did you think?
now you're missing that she got introduced by Marlee Matlin.
Yeah, I do not know who that is. Who is that?
Well, she's deaf, but she's like, I think she's got Emmys. She may even have Tonys.
Okay.
So she's very famous and she can sing.
Cool.
So yeah.
What
Yeah,
about her
Marlee,
interpreter? They sort of made a big deal out of him.
I think it's just mentioning him. I don't know if I don't know who he is. I don't even know if he's been with her for a long time. But she's done acting and singing, and she may even done Broadway stuff. So, she's very famous. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, Tyra had said that we'd get a result in just a few minutes, and then we were watching Shania Twain. But
Yes.
it's a decent song, but I don't know that.
I liked her song from 1999 better. So.
Okay. Well, after that, we did see Darcy Lynn again, and I thought this actually did make Darcy look pretty good, being next to Terry Fader and all that, although I do think Jeff showed up both her and Terry on a technical level, but they seemed kind of equal in ability, to be perfectly honest, and props to Darcy for never using a mic in front of her face.
Right. She does the mic on her face.
Yeah, it's not she can't hide behind it.
Right. Now, Jeff Dunham and Terry Fader both equals amount of success?
I don't know. What are you getting at something here?
No, I'm asking. I'm asking you.
Oh, I think Jeff Dunham is probably way more popular, but I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I think both are really good. I just haven't kept up with. I mean, I think Terry Fader's got his own show, and he's had his own show in Vegas for a really long time. And I know Jeff Dunham's done really well. I just didn't know if they're both at that same level, or.
I mean, in terms of popularity, I would say Jeff is probably higher, but I mean, you can make a ton of money on Vegas, so who knows who's breaking in the dough more.
Okay.
But yeah, what'd you think of this?
I thought it was fun. They, Darcy and Jeff both acted like they were old buddies. The little thing between Walter and Petunia was kind of fun. It was like a little Toy Story moment where they come alive. And then the anything you can do, I can do better between Darcy and Terry Fader was kind of fun. Or I guess between Petunia and whatever the turtle's name is.
Yeah. Darcy kind of messed up the entrance, but I mean, like I said, nobody cares about these performances. I don't hold it against her.
No. And I didn't know Terry Fader could sing. I didn't know that was part of his act.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was always sort of making the comparison between them. I think, yeah, I mean, they kind of do pretty similar stuff.
Okay.
So then we got this segment with Preacher and Howie. It was kind of weird to see Howie taking requests at his own comedy show. I've never really seen that before, but what did you think of this segment?
Yeah, and he's also sat down with Kevin Nealon. So I thought that was kind of weird to see Kevin Nealon. I'm not familiar with his stand-up. I'm only known him from Saturday Night Live, and he kind of even annoyed me on Saturday Night Live. But I thought it was just kind of cool. Preacher just sitting around the table, having a conversation with the two of them. Now, he didn't stand up and do any more comedy there live during the show. I think it's probably kind of hard to do that with somebody else. So this was interesting to have him go to a comedy club, tell some jokes there at the Laugh Factory, which is a pretty famous comedy club, and then just sit around the table with Kevin Nealon and Howie.
Yeah, it was a cool bit. I mean, it had this sort of neat like documentary vibe to it.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Howie in that sort of mood, but I was really hoping that this was not the closest thing we would get to a performance from Preacher. Um, Comedians in the past have done stuff like roasting the judges with another uh, host. I think that was maybe Taylor Williamson that did that. I don't remember, but yeah, it sucked to not see Preacher again. But oh well. So then we got Evie again, and I thought this was pleasant and a nice final performance for her. What did you think?
I'm not familiar with James Author, but it was kind of cool that he learned her song that she wrote, and I thought it was kind of a light, fun song for her to sing.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know it was her song and he learned it. That's cool.
Yeah, I think Tyra mentioned that she was singing her own song.
All right.
Now, when it got to Chase, I think I fast forwarded through Chase, so I'm not even sure what he did.
Yeah, they were really pushing his range on this one. He was singing a lot higher than he usually does, but I mean, other than that, he sounded pretty good, I guess.
Did he sing fast, or did he sing?
No, it was all very normal. It was
Okay.
probably his best performance.
I probably should have watched it then, because that's what I've been wanting him to do the whole show.
Yeah. So after that, we saw AGT Trivia, and I gotta hand it to Simon. He really knows this show.
Yeah, it helps that he probably had someone in his ear telling him all the answers, or that he can tell the cameraman, cut, let me look that up real quick, and then come back. So editing really did Simon a favor in this. Now I got to ask you, did you know all these answers?
Oh no, not
Okay,
at all.
I didn't either. No, I didn't either.
Yeah. I mean, I had that suspicion too that Simon got the questions in advance, but I was really wanting to give him something.
Well, and we find out Mel B knows absolutely nothing about the show.
Oh yeah, that was that was embarrassing. But
Yeah. Hey, Mel B, TV shows can't win Oscars. It's called
yeah,
Emmys.
yeah. So after that, we saw this Tyra tribute, which I thought was pretty good. What'd you think?
I thought it was kind of fun. I thought it was nice that they have not compared her to Nick at all, and just told her that she's done a fantastic job, and that they haven't. I think they've kind of just put the whole Nick era to the side, because they like to compare one act to another, but for Tyra, they didn't say, "Hey, you've done a great job taking over," or it's just no comparison. Just, hey, you're doing a great job.
That's a great point. I totally agree on that. After that, we saw the montage of what this means to all the acts. It seemed a lot like the one that we already saw earlier in the season. You got anything to say on this?
No, not really.
Okay, so after that was Mandy Harvey and Chase Goring. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Did Chase go twice?
No, he only went once.
Oh, I thought we just talked about Chase. All right. Weird. Okay. Anyway.
Well, no, we're in the top 5. We're doing results.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is results.
Dang, the results.
Yeah.
Finally.
Talk about editing.
Yeah. Okay, so
yeah,
I was wanting Chase, I guess, from this. I was predicting Mandy. What were you feeling?
I was pretty sure it was going to be Mandy, and I was hoping it was going to be Mandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chase seemed like he took it pretty well.
Oh yeah, he kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And I just want to say I like this format.
Yeah.
I like this format, and I like the format when we get down to 5th place, 4th place, 3rd, like that. They bring 2 out, one's going home, one's moving on, and I wish that they would kind of stick with this format the rest of the season. It's just like you bring 2 out, one goes home, one goes on.
Yeah, no funny business.
No.
There was one lineup here that I really liked. I liked that they put Preacher and Darcy together.
Yes.
Which, I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, I guess. But Then we saw Evie Claire and Sarah and Hero, and I was like, easiest result ever.
Yeah, I was already highlighting Evie Claire in green on my notes.
Yeah, but the crowd was going nuts for Sarah, so I mean, it was this was weird. This was a sad way for Evie to go down, I think. So kind of big surprise with Sarah and Hero in the top 5. I was kind of thinking like, what if she wins? But
Yeah.
there was no huge upsets after this.
Right. Now the only thing that we can kind of look at on this is, and we'll get to the top 5 here, or the actual order of the top 5, but it's very possible that it just could have been like very close between 5th and 6th. That's the only thing I can kind of look at.
Yeah.
Is that, it was just a very close margin between the two, and it could have flipped either way.
Sure. I mean, speaking of taking it well, Evie took it extremely well. My God, she seemed totally okay with this and at peace and everything. But yeah, I mean, but really, what the frickin' frick happened here?
Yeah. Well, I don't even think Sarah expected it. She looked totally surprised.
Yeah. And I'm sure Mr. Cowell's going to be holding this one over everyone for a long time.
Yeah. People like animal acts. And I was, when they announced it, I was like, oh, if we have an Olate Dogs moment.
Yeah. I was similarly afraid of that. But anyway, after that, we got Diavolo and the Light Balance. I was wanting and predicting Light Balance. What about you?
I was wanting Light Balance. I thought it actually could have gone either way.
Sure.
But I think Light Balance was probably the better dance crew between the two. Even though, as much as I've loved Diavolo, I've loved both of these. But I think that the voters were going to choose Light Balance.
Yeah. So then we got Preacher and Darcy, and I was like, whoa. But yeah, I was wanting Preacher, predicting Darcy, and yeah, this was a surprising moment.
Yeah, and when they announced it, Preacher was like, "Yep, I'm not going through." He knew he wasn't going through.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's why they put these two together, because Preacher would always talk about Darcy beating him. So, yeah, I mean they were like the best of friends too. So, this was a good choice by production, I think, to line them up this way, for the fans.
Yep.
It sucks that Preacher isn't top 5, but I'm happy Angelica gets to be, because I was already kind of doing the calculus on that. We were left with Angelica versus Ketchy, and yeah, what did you think of this pairing?
I thought this was a good pairing. I figured it was going to be Angelica as well. This is another one that probably could have gone either way, just like Diavolo and Light Balance.
Yeah. So then we really drilled down into it. 5th place, I was thinking, of course, please Sarah and Hero.
Yeah.
Before we get
Hero. Before we get to 5th place, something really weird happened during this break. So Tyra says before they go to break, they're going to announce the top 3.
Oh, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We then come back from break, we eliminate one, and then we go right back to break.
Yeah, many broken promises.
Yeah, a lot of weird production going on there. So I just thought that was just really odd. So yeah, we can go ahead and delve into the top 5 here.
Yeah. So Sarah and Hero, what you think?
I was relieved. I will say I was relieved. If it had been anyone else, I would have been extremely nervous. So when they announced that was 5th, I was like, okay, that's done. Now we can get to the real acts.
Yeah, this was an interesting top 5. We weren't very close in our last minute predictions, I think.
No, and I'd have to go back and look at my actual predictions. I didn't take notes on those, but you and I were actually, I think, together except for maybe one act. Is that right?
Yeah, I know we had Preacher in there.
Yeah.
I think we had Evie as well. So, yeah, real interesting results. Keeping it interesting. So 4th place, I was predicting Angelica for this. I was Well, I was wanting Darcy, but I was all right with how this one went. What about you?
I was fine with this with Mandy Harvey. I was fine with that. I didn't think it would be Angelica, but I really didn't have any prediction from here on out. I thought, of course, I had Darcy winning the whole thing, so I thought fourth, fifth, and third, or fourth, third, and second could have been anybody at this point.
Yeah. So third place was Light Balance. At which point I was like, "Wow, Angelica got second place." I mean, I was pretty impressed with that. I did not expect it to happen, but
Well, a lot of people out there were predicting her to win this as well. There's been a lot of Darcy lovers. There's also been a lot of Angelica lovers out there that thought she could win this.
that's really interesting. I'm very glad that Angelica, who did get second place, was very. I'm glad she broke through the mold. I think she's very awesome, and I'm just glad she got the recognition that she deserved. I was honestly more excited for her getting second place than the final winning result because I never quite expected her to go that far. But I mean, she more than deserves it.
Absolutely, I think that she's done a fantastic job the entire season.
Yeah. So it is. It's. I mean, we all know how this story goes. Angelica versus Darcy. I wonder how close the vote was because
Yeah,
I keep feeling I keep wondering what would have happened if I had voted, but it's a silly thing to wonder about and probably not based in anything. But uh, yeah, Darcy is crowned the winner, and then we get two people we've never seen before rushing on stage to congratulate her.
yeah, I thought that was really funny. Tyra was like, "And you are," and the guys were like, "We're her brothers."
Yeah. So interesting, and I guess the place is showered in confetti. Uh, I mean, I don't know. What do you have to say?
Oh well, I just insert song "We Are the Champions" because obviously I picked her in my draft. I not only had the winner, I had second place. So when we got down to the final two, I was like, it just depends on which one gets me the 50 points.
Wow.
So I think no, it's not all about me. Great job to Darcy. Great job to all of them. They all did a fantastic job. It was a fun, divisive season for us. There was a lot of things we loved, a lot of things we hated. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you as well, sir. Was Darcy your first pick? Who's your first draft pick?
Actually, my first pick was Colin Cloud. She was a third round pick.
Okay,
So
interesting.
yeah,
Well, cool. It all sort of shook out in an interesting way. I don't know. What if you were to grade the season as a whole? How would you go? How would you rate it?
I would probably rate it an A minus. Maybe there was just a lot of things about production that I didn't like, especially early on. I want to see more of the bad acts in auditions. I don't want to see every act that comes onto auditions get 4 yeses. I want to see some stuff that's going to make the judges kind of bicker at each other. That's just more fun. I enjoy that. That's just me personally. I'm not a big fan still of the judge cuts method. I want the acts to kind of compete in their categories, more like Vegas Week. But once we got to the live shows, I was happier. I enjoyed it more. I would like to see kind of less intros and packages, especially and go back to auditions. I want to see less packages in auditions. I want to see more auditions in auditions.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I think that's a good retrospective. I hate to be a downer with this one, but ultimately I do think that I will have to give a surprisingly perhaps low grade of a C, and I think ultimately as much fun as we've had week to week this season was sort of lesser than the sum of its parts. I think it was stunted early on, and as a result, it sort of never hit the highs that it should have. Talent wise, it was not super interesting this year. We've had better lineups in the past, I think, and for me personally, it was sort of a disappointing winner that doesn't really mean much for the AGT landscape, like I think last year's did. So I don't know, probably my least favorite season to date, but I have had a lot of fun on this journey of watching and voting and covering it all, of course. But yeah, I mean that's my honest assessment. So I don't know. Come at me with your pitchforks, I guess.
Yeah, let us know how you felt about this. Send us some comments and suggestions.
Yeah, please do. That's about all we have for this episode. I don't know. I hope there's another holiday spectacular. Is all I have to say. But thanks so much to everybody for hanging on to season 12 with us, and it might be a while before we talk to you all again. So if you do want to keep up with all the happenings of our show, then please do follow us on Twitter at AGT Time. And yeah, just, I don't know, let us know all your thoughts and feedback and whatever. And we'll see you at some point.
Happy fall, y'all.